Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Erica and today I am doing a film review of Obsession. This movie has been causing a lot of buzz and I just knew that I had to go see it for myself, and I knew I didn't want to miss out on getting the theater experience, and then I figured why not go see the film and give you guys my own review. I got the blanket on, fireplace is on. This is Colonial Candle in Pomegranate. I think I'm gonna go about this by first giving you guys a little bit of background information, kind of spoiler-free summary, and then spoiler-free review. Then at the end, I will do like a spoiler review / discussion. Let's talk about Obsession. So as I mentioned, this film has been going crazy. This movie was directed by a young fellow named Curry Barker. And I was like, who is this Curry Barker guy? What a name. And so I just looked him up. He's 26 years old. He's an American director, 26 years old, and this is his first big budget film. And I am just so wowed that this is like a young guy up and coming. Super exciting, super refreshing. He has done another full-length film, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Milk and Cereal. I think it was released on YouTube from what I gather. That's pretty much his only other feature-length project. For him to just come out of the gate, hit the box office with a funded movie like this, like, wow. It is really impressive. You can tell I already feel positively about the movie. A young man has a crush on a little lady. He goes to this magical store and he finds this kind of like gag gift, and it's called a One Wish Willow. And basically it's like a little thingy, and then when you break it in half, you can make a wish. It's unclear whether this wish is legit or not, if this thing works, but of course there wouldn't be a movie called Obsession had a man not be wishing for a girl to fall in love with him. And that's where the horror is. I don't want to go too far again because this is a spoiler-free section, but the wish seems like it's working. The girl, she's coming on strong to the guy. The movie is just kind of him dealing with the repercussions of his actions. Like, be careful what you wish for is like literally the moral behind the story. Is it true love? Is it love that she ever would have had organically or naturally? And then he starts to kind of also mentally deal with that and process that as well. This deals in relationship senses, like with infatuation. It's weird because a lot of people might go see this movie and think, wow, this really makes me want to stay out of a relationship for a while. But for me, it made me think about like how valuable a real connection is. Like, maybe I'm just like a hopeless romantic. Maybe I'm projecting, but it made me feel like not wanting to take for granted, you know, a real connection and real relationships, whether it be romantic or platonic. At the end of the day, like, the movie, it did not feel too heavy. It did not feel like it took itself too seriously. There were definitely like very strange and uncanny moments that were like almost a little bit funny. And I just really liked the tone of the movie as a whole. I liked the characters pretty much. I mean, the main character is our homeboy named Bear. He definitely is a relatable character. You see him struggle with confidence throughout the film. I mean, right at the beginning, he wants to organically try to form his connection with the girl. Her name is Nikki. He's trying to like get up the courage right in the beginning of the movie to like tell her how he feels about her. He doesn't end up doing that. We see him miss so many opportunities and it's frustrating, but it's relatable too, right? Like, we've all been in that situation before. Not that the whole premise of the film was believable, but his character was. And so that definitely made me be able to put myself in his shoes, and I really appreciated that. The character of Nikki, so the love interest, I kind of wish we got a little bit more on her real backstory, but actually, I mean, I don't think it's the movie being lazy though, or any constraints. I kind of think it's almost a purposeful choice that they made not to give us too much of her backstory, because the whole idea is the film wanted to have the distance that the main character honestly does have. Like, by him not organically forming that connection with her, you know, and telling her how he feels and asking her out, he's at a distance. He makes a wish for her to like him because he's too scared to like form that himself. So the whole premise of their relationship is based off of a distance, of not knowing her true self and how she truly feels about him. And so I think that extends to her background and other traits of her personality. We also don't learn too much about Bear either. We're kind of just dropped into the situation. I did also really like the lore of the One Wish Willow. So I won't go into this too much given this is the spoiler-free section, but I think that the film did a good job as a whole of not going too in depth. We get things suggested to us throughout the film where we're able to kind of put the pieces together and imagine what this thing does, what it has the power to do, and what also by extension actually happened to Nikki, right, when this wish was made. And so I like that. It's just enough for us to kind of create the picture for ourselves. It's a good example of that show not tell philosophy, right, of creating and storytelling. We're able to infer a lot of what happened in a very successful way. I don't think that we were like gypped of any story or background relating to that. It's just the perfect amount. It's just like a tease where like I want to keep thinking about it, and I want to discuss with you guys, right, about what we think is really behind that and what its limitations are, or its possibilities. I liked the ending. I was satisfied, honestly, throughout the whole film with its pacing and with all of the main plot points. It was a fun, light watch. In terms of like rewatchability, I'm not certain it's something I'll watch again and again and again and again, but I definitely liked it enough to see it a second time. There is some creepy stuff that happens in the movie I won't detail at this second, but I would rewatch the movie probably to just see that creepy stuff again. I don't think it's the kind of film where there's like little clues and hints where I'm like really digging into the lore like I would have with a film like Hereditary or The Witch. But in this case, I think there isn't too much to dissect, but I don't think it's trying to be that kind of film. It doesn't have to be. And then in terms of the horror and the scare and the originality, I think that it wasn't too intense of a film, but there definitely was strangeness. Again, I used that word earlier, uncanny. There was a lot of uncanny characteristics of Nikki throughout the film as her character progressed, and that was very interesting. So I liked that. There definitely was a couple of jump scares that were quite successful. It felt pretty original. It definitely held my attention, I would say, for a large portion of the film. There were some parts that I felt were like a little bit slow, like, okay, we get it, she's a little cuckoo now. I don't think that's any surprise. They could have changed things up a little bit more. I still enjoyed it. It was a successful watch. It pretty much caught my attention. I enjoyed the ending. I enjoyed the concept. And it did scare me a little bit. Like, I wasn't like, oh my God, but like there were parts where I had chills, like physically had chills. I felt the goosebumps. There were at least 2 parts, maybe even 3, where my jaw was dropped. My mouth was like hanging open, watching a couple of things that happened. So that doesn't happen to me, you know, with every film. And I came out of it smiling. I drove home smiling like an idiot. I just really enjoyed the experience. So is it absolutely groundbreaking? Like, oh my God, you have to see? Not necessarily, but you probably should go see it in theaters. Get it on the buzz, get it on the discussion. I do think I'm hard to please with horror films, and I am pleased. So, I mean, take me with a grain of salt, whatever, but it was fun. It's more like off-putting than scary, not disturbing, but just like, what the? Like that kind of like, you can't believe what's going on kind of thing, in an unsettling way. I do recommend this film. I did enjoy it, and I will be giving it a high score on my Letterboxd. So now, with that all being said, let's transition to spoilers time. The best part about this movie was Nikki walking backwards. Her uncanny movements that happened a couple times in the film were batshit. That was crazy. And I cannot think of another movie that's done that. It threw me for a loop, and it was fantastic. I believe she did it in that one scene where she's in the corner watching him sleep. Like, hello. I think that is probably going to be one of the most talked about moments in this movie. So not only is she standing in the corner, she's like, I'm watching you sleep, but then she like runs backwards somehow, and then she's like shuffling around with like the vase of flowers in front of her face. Like, what? It was so out of left field, and that's what made it so effective. It was like, what? She does it again near the end of the film when they're in like his living room. For me, the whole like her screaming like, no, like all of that, I was like, okay, it makes sense for her character, but I think that is one of the things, when I was talking about things being a little overdone, that is sort of what I was referencing earlier on. One of my favorite moments of the film, where he's going to go to work at the music store, and she's like, oh babe, like, I wish I was scheduled today. And the shot is only on his face throughout the conversation. We, the audience, are expecting his expression to be a reaction to her saying, oh, I wish we were scheduled together, but maybe I'll come by, maybe I'll stop by. And he's like, no. Like we're just seeing that shot of his face, and we're thinking, oh, like he's reacting, like being like, oh my God, like this is my first chance in forever to be alone. Like, don't come. So he's making this like kind of face, right? And then the camera flips to what he's actually facing, and it's their front door that she completely covered in duct tape. It was such a good scene. And I use the word scene in particular too, because I also, want to reference the way that we're just shown his face and not what he's looking at, because we are just, as the audience, thinking about what's happening based off of the stimulus that we're being shown. We hear Nicky talking, saying, oh, I want to come in and see you, even though he's going to be alone, and so we see his face, but it's actually a reaction to what he's looking at. So I loved that change in perspective. I thought it was so smart. Well, near the end of the film, he's in the car with Sarah, his other friend who liked him for real, and she wanted to share a moment with him. Of course, it was going to be too good to be true. He snuck out without Nicky waking up. Well, she comes out, breaks through the window, and absolutely smashes Sarah, unfortunately, to bits through the window. And that was a great, shocking, jump scary type moment. It was effective. It was definitely effective for me. That was one of the couple moments I referenced earlier where my jaw was on the floor. I was like you know what jaw on the floor means. I don't know why I feel the need to demonstrate every time. That stuck with me. I think another effective part of the movie was the lore about the One Wish Willow. I mentioned that we as the audience get a couple hints as to how this works and how this might have actually impacted Nicky. We get the part where Bear is in the car and he ends up calling the customer service number from the box. He's having this conversation with the guy. He's like, no, you can't cancel the wish. No, you can't change the wish. Do you want to talk to Nicky? And he's like, what do you mean? It cuts to her through the phone, screaming her head off. And so my first reaction was she's in hell or something. She's the real her, not the one who's almost possessed in a way, is totally in hell, suffering. And then I also thought, well, maybe it actually was a cut to her right now, because last we saw her, she was just in the house standing there peeing herself, waiting for him to come home. So she very well could be screaming from inside the house, but I kind of felt like her spirit or her soul was somewhere else and being tortured by this whole thing. And then that I think was definitely confirmed in the canon of the film later on. Right before he goes out and he sneaks out in the middle of the night to talk to Sarah, he gets up and Nicky's whispering to him, but she's actually asleep. So it was her real self whispering to him, and she's just like, kill me, kill me. We definitely see the battle of her snapping in and out of it throughout the film. The first night where she comes to his house after the wish is made and they're sleeping together and stuff, and they start to kiss, but then she totally freaks out and backs up. She's like, I think I saw something. And then there's the time later on at their buddy's party when she totally freaks out as well. She's like, oh, it's just did she say panic attack or something? I actually think maybe it's a demon or a spirit, or it's whatever it is that kind of controls the wishes. This is my opinion, my reading of it, but she sees that. It's kind of haunting her and taking her soul. But nonetheless, that's again another thing that I liked about the film. It treats the audience with respect if you are able to do that tactfully in a film, and I think that's what's really important. So that's my thoughts. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Again, do I think this is the most groundbreaking film ever? No, but it did affect me super positively. I will probably rewatch this at some point, later on, not in the near future again. But I'm really excited to, again, engage in other people's discussions and all the conversation regarding this film, because I know it's had fantastic reception, again, from a lot of the horror commentators that I trust and that I enjoy watching as well. It's definitely one of my favorite recent horror films too that I've seen in theaters. I think one of the last ones I went out to see was Weapons. Not to totally derail this conversation for a minute. I saw Weapons and I liked it well enough, but people were like, oh my god, Weapons is so good, Weapons is so good. And I feel that discourse even went outside of the bounds of the regular horror community, and I just didn't get the hype like that. I was slightly let down by Weapons just because there was so much hype, but I feel there was so much hype with Obsession, but I wasn't let down. I was happy. I was smiling as I came out the theater and drove home, and I couldn't wait to sit down and make this video and talk with you guys about it. I think I'm gonna give this movie maybe a 4.5 stars out of 5. It's not a perfect film, but horror film is entertainment, right? Movies are for entertainment, books are for entertainment, and I think that it was hella entertaining, and I was happy. I don't know, it just, I liked it. I liked this movie. Can you tell I'm not that graceful with movie reviews? It's my first time ever actually sitting down to film one movie review, so I hope you guys vibed. I hope this made sense. And that maybe this will either, number one, inform your decision about going to see the film, or number two, you have seen the film and you either agreed or have something to say about some of the points that I've brought up or didn't bring up that you want to add to the conversation. Please, nonetheless, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Can't wait to hear your guys' voices in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.